Members, let's continue our meeting. This is the second session. There are altogether 29 deputations and individuals attending this session. Before we start, I would like to remind attendees that if necessary, you may use our earpiece. Channel 0 is the floor, 1 is Cantonese, 2 is English, and 3 is 普通话. You will each have 3 minutes to speak. There is a timer in the conference room. When the 3-minute mark is reached, it will make a sound to remind you that your time is up. You are asked to use the microphone to speak. Those who have not given us your written submission may give your written submission to the Secretariat after the meeting. I would like to remind members who come here to express their views. What you say is not covered by the Legislative Council Powers and Privileges Ordinance. Your written submission is not covered by the exemption and protection under the ordinance. Please also take note that the note for members of the public attending meetings in conference or observing meetings in public galleries in electrical complex lists out various security measures. This note has been attached to the letter sent to you by the Secretariat. You also find a copy in front of you. Those in the public gallery may ask for the note from security guards. Please be reminded that you have to behave in an orderly manner. You may not display any signs, messages, or banners, and you cannot clamor or chant slogans. The details can be found in the note. We will start this session. First is Dynamic Youth of Huizhou Limited, Ms. Cotty Yip. Good morning, everyone. I am the Secretary General of our organization. Presidency attaches a lot of importance on youngsters and youth work. And he emphasized that, we have to be the confidant, advocate, and guide of youngsters. Last year, the first blueprint was released by the administration. It outlines over 160 actions and measures to support youngsters, and they hope to inspire, support, and embrace youngsters of different backgrounds and to rebuild a trust with youngsters and to build a harmonious society. We have these suggestions for your consideration. First, to open more different channels of communication and to make these communication channels more transparent and to enhance interaction. Well, online platforms, mobile app platforms, social media platforms, as well as direct dialogues can be properly used to listen and respond to youngsters' views. 2, to plan with a focus on youngsters. Society always attach importance to the physical and mental health of youngsters, and there should be positive thinking and positive values cultivated so that their passions and their dreams can be turned into a force to drive to improve our society. And there can be more projects using youngsters as the lead, and these scales should be enhanced as well. Youngsters should receive training for their leadership skills and general skills, and there can also be a talent bank set up. 3, there should be a youth network established. Resources at the district level should be consolidated so that youngsters can make better contribution, and there can be district-based or group-based exchange sessions to exchange views with youngsters. Information and resources should be made available to youngsters. And these district bodies can be used as a bridge between the government and youngsters. Thank you, Ms. Yip. Next is Hong Kong Playground Association, Ms. Dr. Wen Lap Meng. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Hong Kong Playground Association, we state our views. We are an NGO established under CAP 1061. Since year 1333, we have been working to help youngsters and youngsters in difficulties. You will find our youth centers and venues in all 18 districts. We also have outreach social workers. We have views to make covering 4 areas. First, repositioning our youth policy. During the visit of presidency, well, we learned that for employment, education, entrepreneurship, and ownership, and it is not an easy problem to resolve. Sometimes the problem stems from somewhere else, say for example psychological health, drug addiction, and other problems. If we can take a step forward, we can use a development approach to help youngsters to develop so that they will be able to make achievements in education, employment, and entrepreneurship and home ownership. Apart from repositioning the youth development policy, you also need to review the age limit of youth services. Currently, when it comes to youth services, it's for those between the age of 6 and 24. But now, with better education, a lot of people are still studying when they reach the age of 24, and they need more support and continuous support when it comes to starting their businesses or employment after the age of 24. Some organizations would like to provide services, but they don't have the resources. The Social Welfare Department does not stop you from doing it. But if you want to serve those above the age of 24, you will have to fund the activities yourselves. So if you want to help youngsters develop, you need to raise the age of youngsters. We've been helping youngsters between the age of 24 and 39 for their life planning, and we've made a lot of achievements in this regard. Thirdly, in terms of sports development of youngsters, there is a lot of room for our youngsters to shine. They may not excel in academic subjects, but they excel in other areas, say for example sports. If we can fine-tune the youth policy with a focus not just on academics, there can be assistance provided to youngsters to develop their sports or cultural talents. Thank you. Next is Mr. Poon Ji-ho of Dynamic Youth of Greater Bay Area Limited. Good morning, everyone. When it comes to open-mindedness, contact restoration of mutual trust and building up social expectations together, we have some views to share. First, guidance. Youngsters expect the government to put in place more communication channels and mechanisms to listen and talk to them. And they expect the government to reply to their views in a targeted way. They hope that society can be more inclusive and open so that different views will have the right to express themselves and to be listened to. However, we see that when it comes to communication channels, it's not just about information. And we see images and videos and social platforms. These are the mainstream channels now. Schools and district organizations may organize talks, activities, and workshops so that youngsters will have better access of information. But because of political reasons or societal reasons, some youngsters don't want to be frank with their views. So these are our suggestions. First, to enhance the level of participation of youngsters so that there will be better trust and better interaction. There can be more communication channels and mechanisms so that government can communicate more frequently with youngsters and district bodies. There can be organization of political debates on certain topics. The two sides can brainstorm so that we can get a glimpse of the thoughts of youngsters on certain topics in order to give them proper guidance and to correct them if necessary. There can also be competitions in terms of innovation and culture. Well, we can use different ways, say for example, art, music, design, or video clips to organize competitions to give youngsters a platform to showcase their innovation talents. District bodies can participate as well. Youngsters can join these groups as a starting point, and there can be volunteer organizations organized so that youngsters can group together and work together and make change from that point onwards. The other point is that the government should be more transparent so that the policy formulation process as well as the outcomes will be open to the general public. In this way, there can be mutual trust built. This should not be a one-way street, and it should be both ways so that youngsters will better understand how the government works, and their views can be listened to as well. And people who want to make use of misinformation will not get an opportunity to do so. My name is Yang. I'm from the Hong Kong United Youth Association Limited. I have a few points to make in relation to our topic. Well, we want to reach into schools to enhance understanding of our country's history and education better. Now our borders have been open. I'm happy to see that exchange sessions and internship programs have restarted. These are good opportunities for our youngsters to better understand our country, our history, and to gather experience. In relation to rebuilding trust and reaching out to youngsters, we see that the Home Affairs Bureau, the Home Affairs Department have conducted a lot of activities, and there is this district services and community care team as well. District activities should be more regular, and there should be sports activities and cultural activities because these are of interest to youngsters. And there should be more opportunities for youngsters to participate in politics in order to enhance the effectiveness of policies. The member self-recommendation scheme has been expanded. We hope that there should be KPIs set for district youth community building committee as well as the district youth development and civic education committee. Reports of these committees should be made and their feedback should be given as well. And in relation to helping rehabilitated youths, we should help them get back on the right track. And people who've been involved in social incidents have paid the prices. We had the opportunity to visit correctional institutions. We see that this is a new way to work with the Security Bureau and the Correctional Services Department. We had this opportunity to give information about our enterprises, and we conducted recruitment on the spot as well. So these are opportunities for those who have been released from prison or who are about to be released, and they will be given an opportunity to work. And this will give them a chance to rebuild trust in our society, and this will give them a different pathway so that they will not mix with the old undesirable groups. In relation to youth hostel, this is in line with the aforesaid mentioned point. We see about a 200-hour activity. Well, when hotels gave us their premises, the premises were not in the best condition, but youngsters participated to renovate and to make the premises better. We work with organizations in Wan Chai and Causeway Bay on a number of projects, And this is to enhance the sense of ownership and belonging amongst youngsters. Thank you, Mr. Yang. Next is Mr. Choi Siu Lung from the Scouts Association of Hong Kong, James Choi. On behalf of our association, I have some points to make. We encourage youngsters to actively participate in district activities and services so that they become good citizens. We agree about the participation of youngsters set out in the blueprint so that everyone can work together for better Hong Kong. When in relation to having an effective channel to communicate with youngsters, we think interaction is important. We need to give opportunities for youngsters to express their views. There can be regular cooperation with youth groups to conduct opinion polls. Well, we have about 100,000 members in our association covering youngsters from different backgrounds and different sectors. We can understand their views. There can be online, offline seminars so that government officials can have direct dialogue with youngsters so that consensus can be reached on different topics. Youngsters should be encouraged to participate on district affairs. Say, for example, voluntary work to help elderly citizens and the underprivileged. There can be cooperation with youth services centers. In the process of making arrangements of activities, they have a chance to talk to government officials. Youngsters can receive guidance. There is is similar to a territory-wide volunteer organization, volunteer activity. When it comes to organizing youth activities, adults should only guide. Youngsters should be given a more active role. And these activities at the end will become better suited to the needs of youngsters. And in the process, youngsters will learn more about making arrangements, logistics, and planning. And it can also encourage communication among different stakeholders. On rebuilding trust, there is an important element. Stakeholders have the same goal. And mutual trust should be built on the sense of belonging and identification. So youngsters should get opportunities to better understand about our country. Well, there are lots of visits to the GBA, the Greater Bay Area, but there are limited places. Number of places can be increased, and there can be different cooperations so that youngsters will see different aspects of our country. And again, and there should be reviews as well.
Thank
you, Mr. Choi. Next, from JCI Hong Kong, Mr. Yu Xiaoyin. Thank you. Hello, I'm from the JCI Hong Kong, Yu Xiaoyin. In 104 countries around the world, we have established headquarters. So we are an organization dedicated to the training of young leaders. And there are different types of exchange and visits activities conducted. So we have certain responses to make regarding the nurturing young people with global perspective. Our outstanding youth election has been around for over 50 years. We want to establish Hong Kong as a hub for nurturing young leaders. Are Hong Kong young people ready to communicate with the rest of the world? In the past few years, we have conducted a lot of international exchange activities. Other than resources, not enough time is being allocated to prepare young people for such exchanges. There are over 70 overseas visits conducted with over 1,000 participants. And before each visit, we provide them with training, such as in the international etiquette, how to build relationships with their foreign counterparts, etc. We want them to be able to take on leadership roles in the world. After many years of experience, we find that the approach we adopted has been very useful. And we want to establish Hong Kong as a hub for the nurturing of young leaders. Under the talent measures in Hong Kong, we want to enhance Hong Kong young people's exchange with their foreign counterparts. There are many overseas talents coming to Hong Kong. In 2019, there are some 5,000 to 10,000 talents arriving to Hong Kong. But because of various concerns, they have left Hong Kong. Where have they gone? Why didn't they stay in Hong Kong? We conducted a survey, and our results will be published by the end of the month. Our conclusion is that international talents who come to Hong Kong come from different backgrounds. We need to have a cross-cultural communication. We need to enhance young people's cultural adaptability. We recommend international talents joining different organizations. We can organize cultural festivals such as Asian film, microfilm festivals, etc. Local leaders who, other than being committed, they also need to take responsibility. There needs to be advanced training. We want government to provide more tools to prepare young people for their participation in politics so that they can be systematic in their creative ideas. Thank you. Next, Hong Kong Professional and Senior Executives Association, Dr. Bobby Liu. Thank you. Good morning. On behalf of the Hong Kong Professional and Senior Executives Association, I'm here to give our views. Our association has attached great importance to youth development, and we recommend developing multiple platforms for communication. In terms of information exchange, the information disseminated is rather fragmented. We recommend a one-stop platform for young people to receive information. They can be categorized by careers or different professions, etc. The government can utilize common platforms and the power of social media to step up their promotion. We also suggest organizing competitions and other participation activities so that young people can engage in these activities, such as the design of competitions. We can attract young people to download and use such platforms. On reviewing the room for young people's participation in politics, we suggest the enhancement of the member self-recommendation scheme for youth. Other than expanding the quota, we would like to see priority given to those who have never participated in the scheme. This will encourage their participation rate and attract new blood to politics. And you should also set out the clear eligibility of the scheme. This can enhance the transparency of the scheme, and you should increase the number of members participating in the MSSY. For professions such as surveyors, architects, etc., they have their individual youth groups. So we recommend the District Youth Community Building Committee and the District Youth Development and Civic Education Committee to have these types of members so that they can contribute their expertise. And we want to establish subcommittees under the various committees for young people's participation. This can help us understand young people's ideas and their abilities. We also encourage cooperation with NGOs in organizing activities related to politics, such as visits to LegCo. This can increase young people's interest in politics. And on restoration of mutual trust, we believe that we need to improve our relationships. We need to let them know that we have good intentions and let them see hope in the future. And through culture and arts, we can rebuild our relationship and our mutual trust. Thank you. Next, Mr. Lau Chun Kit from Teenage Density Association of the FLU. Thank you. We believe that youth participation is the basis of social development. The Youth Development Blueprint suggests that we need to listen to young people. How can we restore mutual trust? We have 4 suggestions. First, enhancing the information dissemination system. Currently, information is being disseminated by the HYAB. We believe that we need to have a updated and comprehensive platform, both online and offline. We need to revamp the youth.gov.hk website. We can consolidate information there by sorting districts or activity types so that young people from different districts can understand what is going on in their own district. And for subsidized organizations, they can update their information on the said website to step up promotion. Second, to create a tier mechanism for young people to reflect their views. We believe that mutual trust is based on respect and two-way communication. So we need to make young people realize that they are an important stakeholder in society. This can ensure their development. So we want to establish a youth-based tier mechanism. The first is youth participants. Second, tutors or mentors for youth programs. And third, youth organizations. And then at the highest tier, government advisory bodies. For all comments received, we can adopt a bottom-up approach by reflecting young people's opinion. And from a top-down approach, the government can disseminate the relevant information. This can provide better support for young people. We suggest the newly appointed Commissioner for Youth can act as a bridge between young people and the various resources available by government departments, schools, etc. But there are currently a scheme matching schools and NGOs with young people so that they can have access to services provided. And to enhance the member self-recommendation scheme for youth and listen to their views on youth employment. After the expansion of the MSSY, by increasing its quota, we recommend expanding the scope to different sectors to include young people from different industries. Perhaps you can divide the committees by industries so that young people from different sectors can voice their opinions. So that they can get respect from the government. Thank you. Next, Hong Kong General Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, Mr. Vincent Ha. Thank you. On behalf of the Hong Kong General Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, I'm here to share our views. But we believe that young people's participation in politics and discussion of public policies are very important. They need the opportunity to express their views. We recommend the government to consistently increase the number of young representatives to provide more support so that they can understand politics and public affairs. This can effectively help them voice their opinion. And we believe that through community engagement and open forums, we can attract young people to participate in politics. The government can provide more platforms for young people to voice their opinions and respond to them proactively. Many years ago, many districts have had district youth councils. That is a good example. Youth council can help secondary school students and tertiary students to voice their opinion on district issues. And district officers and other district committee members can attend youth council meetings and have exchange with young people, listen and adopt to their suggestions as well. This can nurture their sense of community building since a young age. In terms of training, government and NGOs can provide more support and training, such as providing training on politics and public affairs. This can help young people better understand these two aspects. Currently, the government has held various courses on training courses on politics. These are appropriate platforms for young people to understand our national development, the political situation of different districts, and community affairs. However, these courses are not popularized and they are often very expensive. So we recommend the government to push more NGOs to organize similar courses for young people to receive training. And through these courses, they can nurture the international perspective. As an organization representing 300 young entrepreneurs, we hope the government can regularly listen to young entrepreneurs on different areas, such as in terms of INT. How can we integrate INT development and compliance? We hope that you can communicate more with the trade. All the various committees under the policy bureaus should include more young entrepreneur representatives so that they can participate in the policy formulation. This can better cater to the need of young entrepreneurs. Lastly, we believe that through conversation and communication, we can build a more open and inclusive social environment so that young people can feel that their voices and opinions are being valued. And this can build a more open and inclusive society. Thank you. Thank you. Next, Ms. So Wing Yu from Hong Kong Guangdong Youth Association. Thank you, Chair. I'm So Wing Yu from the Hong Kong Guangdong Youth Association. We have 4 points to make. Young people's communication with the government is very important for social stability. Firstly, we want to guide young people to have an open attitude and respect and understand different perspectives. In the past 3 years during the pandemic, young people's way of learning has been hindered. So their viewpoints on things are rather one-dimensional. So we need to enhance our young people's understanding to our country's development. So we hope that the government can increase the number of applications and amount of funding to the youth internship program to the mainland, so the patriotic organizations can organize more of these activities. Second, to step up young people's communication and contact. I think you can consider adopting ways preferable to young people to enhance communication. For example, our association has organized sharing sessions on the spirit of the 2 sessions, and the speaker has utilized lively stories and language that is preferred by young people so that they can understand the spirits of the 2 sessions and willing to open for exchange. Third, to provide upward mobility opportunities to rebuild trust. For young people wishing to serve the community, we want to provide them with these opportunities. For example, we need to increase the number of quotas for the MSSY to utilize the Central Personality Index, and for young people to serve young people and for them to listen to each other. This can build mutual trust with various levels of members, and we believe that this is worth drawing reference from. Fourth, we need to build social expectation together. Social expectation is a set of values and behavioral guidelines, and through education and promotion, we can promote social expectation. We have been organizing arts, cultural, and sports events, including football, bicycle, basketball, etc., and large-scale research has been done. Through the process, we understand the needs of young people, and this can convey positive values to young people. We can solve problems together and build a better life. In conclusion, we believe that all stakeholders and government can work together to enhance young people's support for the government through various means so that they will want to build their community and build a better society. Thank you, Ms. So. Next, Hong Kong Chinese Importers and Exporters Association, Mr. Fort Lep Yen. Thank you. I'm the Director and Vice Chairman of the Youth Affairs Committee of the Hong Kong Chinese Importers and Exporters Association. To review the channel of communication between young people and government, we believe that there are 2 points to cover. First, online format. Well, many here today have touched upon this point. Young people nowadays use social media sites, mobile applications, etc. We hope that the government can step up their efforts on this behalf. Perhaps you can adopt promotional methods through short video clips, etc. HYAB has rolled out the Youth Development Blueprint in late 2022, and they have mentioned the Youth Mobile Application app and establishment of a youth network. But are these measures in touch with young people? We think that we can enhance this further. Young people nowadays are so used to receiving information using online means. So with these one-stop measures or application, it would be very effective. And young people actually covers a wide range of ages. So we believe that we need to target different age groups, let's say senior primary, senior, junior, secondary, or those who are employed or who are entrepreneurs. So these are regarding online means. Offline means are equally important. We can set up youth information committees or voluntary teams, etc. Through these mechanisms, we can absorb and listen to young people's opinions, and we can respond to them accordingly. And through the member self-recommendation scheme for youth, the quota has been increased from 60 to 120. And in 18 districts, there will be District Youth Development and Civic Education Committee and the District Youth Community Building Committee. In different districts, there are different types of young people. So it would be best to listen to different young people's opinion in all 18 districts. I hope that you can step up efforts on this front so that you can listen to young people. And in due course or regularly, you can have meetings with the HYAB. We hope that this can enhance the room for development for young people. As for participation in politics, I hope that the government can collaborate more with community organizations or Chamber of Commerce. You can have more forums or training courses. Through the influence of these community organizations, young people can have the ability to be in touch with politics. Thank you. Thank you. Next, Mr. Wen Fan from Huajing Society. Chair, on open-mindedness, contact, restoration of mutual trust, and building up social expectations together, we believe that we need to have a two-way communication in order to restore mutual trust. This can better help young people's development. I have a few points to make. First, we should build a platform to listen to their views and set up relevant KPI. We have been doing very well in listening to young people. But in the Youth Development Blueprint, it is mentioned that the government will set up the youth dashboard to collect data relating to youth issues. We believe that this has been a great improvement. So not only the government is providing output, you are actually receiving input. So by utilizing this platform where young people can speak, they can voice their opinions online, since this is something that they are used to. We suggest that for the youth dashboard, other than collecting data, you can also collect opinions on various forums so that we can ensure discussion online. And with this platform, you can also set up KPIs. Let's say how popular it is, so that you can identify issues related to young people so that you can listen to them properly. Second, to increase the characteristics of exchanges and support between the two areas. Since our establishment 11 years ago, we have been dedicated to serving the Hong Kong community. From our Hong Kong young people's point of view, they have been going on exchange tours that are very quick and succinct. How can we provide exchange programs that are more in-depth, that can help restore mutual trust? Well, some of the people here have mentioned that we should incorporate arts, cultural, and sports element into the tours. And through different types of competitions, there are demands for those. So this can enhance the exchange programs. Through sports and competitions, we can help them with their confidence and enhance communication. And I understand that there are many people applying for these exchange programs. We can set up relevant KPIs to determine how many participants are there and how many applicants, so that we can decide whether or not this activities is actually appealing to young Hong Kong people, and determine how we can allocate various resources to select appropriate exchange programs for Hong Kong young people. Thank you.
Next, Mr. John Poon from Youth Ideas, the Hong Kong Federation of Youth Groups. To restore mutual trust and build up social expectations, we must take into account the vision of the blueprint and the difference from it to reality. People need to have a sense of belonging of Hong Kong. So the government has to be more aware of the needs of grassroots youth. They must feel eager to make contributions to society and to the building of community, but often the government and the public would have weird expectations for them. To create the conditions to implement the blueprint, I have 3 suggestions. One would be the restoration of mutual trust. Earlier, the HKFYG talked about 3 trusts. Trust, confidence in both sides. So the administration should work with organizations through different channels, collaborate to establish trust and confidence, and to restore confidence of youth in the government. And the youth will be more confident about the future of Hong Kong. With regard to youth participation, now there are KPIs for the blueprint. If we want to be more target-oriented, we should set KPIs for common participation. We can invite youth to formulate KPIs so that they can make contributions. Also, youth are now participating in district affairs. They have had exchanges with government officials. They can have open communication and they can produce concrete results. So they can start from youth participating in district youth committees to let them actualize their plans. We want to provide a better blueprint. We want to promote exchanges between youth and government stakeholders so as to close out the distance between the government and the youth. That's it for my presentation. Thank you. Next. Ms. Chan Tong from Hong Kong Students Association of Canton. Members, Chair, good morning. I'm Ms. Chan Tong. I'm Secretary General of the association. We serve Hong Kong students studying in Guangdong. So I wish to talk about our views. We are now at a new stage and youth education is very important. Right now, being open is what we need. Over the past few years, we have had different physics groups here. We have also had a mode for different people so that we can enhance communication between people so that people have a better understanding of the country, so that as long as we have an open mind, we believe we can work together. But obviously, we need to start from contact. We have actively outreach to youth groups, and through observations, they can understand that the country is the root of their ancestry. We have helped over 2,000 people obtain internship positions so that they have more potential employment opportunities and they think they have a bright future. So we, apart from providing more support for our youth, we have also built friendship. We hope to provide better opportunities for youth. We believe being open is very important because it has a better understanding on both sides and it helps build mutual trust. We hope the government will have more platforms and organize more visits to the Bay Area to enhance youth identity as a Chinese national, and we hope to have a direction. We also want to create a society and a government that is responsible with the strong support of a country, with the spirit of Hong Kong. We wish to create consensus and we wish to build social expectations that we can work together and there is a brighter future for Hong Kong. Thank you. Next, Professor Ellen Lau from the No, good morning. I am speaking on behalf of the with regard to the comments on long-term youth policy and the development blueprint. Some people say they are not very certain about the future in Hong Kong and they cannot find their career development and they do not have the motivation to develop their long-term future in Hong Kong. So there is VPAT. I believe that it can help youth achieve by connecting them with industries. And it is felt very helpful for them, especially for those who are eager to develop their careers. The government has been actively promoting VPAT, but I think there is still room for improvement. It can act in parallel with the education system to alleviate manpower wastage at the moment. I believe to increase the recognition for VPAT, we need to have specific vocational degrees to equip them with abilities so that they can develop the Bay Area and Asia in general. The is a higher institution. We hope to equip youth with skills for the industry through close collaboration and network. We wish to use our abilities to promote scientific projects so that youth can develop into specific talents and make contributions to society. We hope to create a win-win situation, and such vocational education will enhance people's capabilities through work-based learning and workplace learning and assessment, and through project-based learning they can collaborate. They will have a better understanding of the industries. We need the support of industries, and we have to enhance collaboration with mainland enterprises to ensure that the youth have opportunities to make use of their skills. We will also need funding support for including donations for programs and research. So we want to work with universities of applied sciences in the mainland overseas, and we believe that can help youth make contributions to society in future. Thank you. Next, Mr. Kam King Yip, HKFTU Youth Affairs Committee. Thank you. Apart from voicing youth opinions, the committee aims to reinforce positive values in youth. Now, with regard to this topic, the government would like us to express our views. So the government has demonstrated an open attitude to our views, and we do appreciate that. We have several suggestions. One, with regard to the dissemination of our opinions, we wish that the government would have focus groups to gather our views. Also, we want the government to have more channels to collect views and to disseminate information for youth to know more about public schemes. Also, we want the government to expand the MSSY so that it covers more advisory committees and more youth can express their opinions on the topics. Also, the government should enhance work for working youth so that they can be stabilizing pillars of society. Communication should be enhanced to deal with the problems of working youth. Next, to better collect our views, I believe the government should utilize more youth-friendly channels. For example, set up street booths to communicate face-to-face with youth. Also, the HAD can meet with stakeholders from youth organizations for exchanges. Also, we have 2 suggestions to make. I believe that the functions of the 2 district youth committees should be enhanced so that the youth can have a better grasp of relevant information in district affairs. Also, with the formulation of district youth policies, they can make contributions as well. Also, they can create more opportunities for patriotic youth to take part in policy discussion. So that's the suggestions that we have to make. We hope to work with all sectors of society in the work for youth so that youth can create better lives and make great contributions. Thank you, Mr. Kam. Next, Mr. Lai Tat-Shing from the Proactive Think Tank. Good morning, everyone. We would like to make 2 suggestions. One, we would like to have more channels to collect views from the Youth Development Blueprint. I believe Youth Dashboard will be set up to collect data on information related to youth, and a one-stop mobile app will be created. I agree with those measures. Well, with these 2 mobile apps, we would want to have interaction, and we would want to have room for policy discussion incorporated in the blueprint. As you may all know, Web 3.0 is a popular trend, and there has been more information on that. I believe young people would emphasize that information online should be open. With government supervision, youth can express their views legally. That is very important. So how is the data going to be dealt with? How do we make sure it won't be deleted? It's also very important. With the establishment of Youth Dashboard, we need to incorporate all classes of youth so that they can express their views. We also have to ensure the security and privacy of such data. Apart from collecting views from youth, we have to think about how we can incorporate such views in the formulation of policies. So the government with different topics, they should give feedback to the youth so that they know how such views will be dealt with in the formulation of policies, so that they wouldn't just be channels that are there, they are actually have results. Also, if there are immediate channels for collecting youth views, we believe such channels would be best for incorporating views of the youth. Also, one was just selected as a district youth committee member. District affairs should be dealt with on the district level, and as a member of the Youth Development Commission, how we can make sure that youth views are incorporated, it's very important. We can have some district affairs forums, for example, so that youth from all classes or different backgrounds can express their views. This can be an effective channel to obtain views from the district to resolve district level issues. That's my presentation. Thank you. Next, Mr. Martin Mann from youthbay.com. Good morning. Today we have some observations to make. One would be on the exchanges between the Greater Bay Area and Hong Kong. The policy address has announced multiple measures to attract talent. At least 35,000 people are expected to be attracted, and there has been a threefold increase in the hit on the website. It demonstrates the government's proactive attitude, and I believe exchanges between the two regions will be more frequent in future. To foster such cultures, we would want the government to create more opportunities for Hong Kong youth to exchange their views with their other youths in the Bay Area, such as accountants. They can exchange their views on the system in the two regions so that the horizons of the youths from the two regions can be broadened. Next, we want to have create awareness for youth. Secondary students in Hong Kong would have more opportunities to be exposed to the Bay Area, and visits are arranged more frequently. That should cover more groups of youth, so that more groups of youth can visit the mainland and have a better understanding of the mainland. But this is only a shallow understanding of the mainland. It doesn't mean that youth can necessarily integrate into the development of the country. So how we can make sure that they can have a better understanding and the trends of the country. We believe that secondary students, through visits, have a better understanding of the mainland already. But after they graduate, when they're at university level, will there be more visits for them to have a targeted understanding of certain industries, for example? I believe that's my understanding of the subject for now. Thank you, Mr. Mann.
Next is Liberal Party, Ms. Lei Gayan. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. In relation to youth development, I have 2 points to make. First, about stigmatization. We see that the government has given a lot of opportunities for youngsters to participate in political discussion and to join different committees. But for these youngsters, they do not represent all youngsters. Most of them who have joined are seen as youngsters who are elite with a strong support from family or their respective circle. Majority of youngsters don't necessarily have the chance to participate. But it's always about who you know, not what you know. When it comes to applying for school places or advisory committees of the government, if you don't have any recommendation, if you don't have a specific background, it's very difficult for you to get selected or recommended. When it comes to selecting young members, it's not just about the referral channel. There should be different ways to select youngsters so that they have a chance to express themselves. Youngsters have been given many different labels compared to other places overseas. Youngsters may have different ideas and dreams about what they like to do, but in Hong Kong it's different. A lot of secondary students or university graduates, their goal and future lies in the banking industry, big accounting firms, or becoming doctors. These are conventional professions, but now every trade has a future. A lot of university graduates, they may not take up the same job as the discipline they have studied. Compared to other places, Hong Kong youngsters are too practical because they think that if they find a job in the subject that they've studied, they may not be able to make a good living. That's why a lot of people don't want to go into trades that are not as professional as the others. So we need to change that mentality. A global scope of knowledge is very important. We need to promote exchanges. And a lot of grassroots students and their views are very different from international students. So different students from different sectors have different views. So there can be exchanges among local schools, among schools in Hong Kong as well. And that's all I'd like to say. Thank you. Next, Po Leung Kuk, Mr. James Mock. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, government officials. Po Leung Kuk very much welcomes the Youth Development Blueprint. This blueprint has set clear goals for the all-rounded development of our youngsters. We offer many different types of youth services. We have some suggestions to make. And these are our observations from our conduct of youth services. We see that the government has been very active in youth development. They want to give opportunities for youngsters to better understand the development of our country and that in the Greater Bay Area. They want youngsters to know the development opportunities that they have. Regarding internship, employment, studies, and starting their businesses, there are plenty of opportunities in the Greater Bay Area. Regarding the actual operation, there is no one-stop service for youngsters to find the information. Say, last Monday and Wednesday, I took some youngsters to Guangzhou and Shenzhen to visit different incubator bases and the assistance and support available. Different places have different approach in terms of support. And even for different areas in the same municipal city, the approach might be different. A lot of young entrepreneurs think that there is no easy access of all the information in a single platform. Our first suggestion is that the government should see from the perspective of youngsters, and they can set up an authoritative platform of the GBA on study, employment, and businesses. But we do agree that youngsters should get a better understanding of our country. We think that it's important. You need to have hands-on experience to get the best understanding. In different places, different municipalities, different provinces, there are different foci when it comes to information about the country. Organizers or schools, we hope will be able to access useful information. We need to know where the contact point is. If one can be provided, our services can be better. Thank you, Mr. Mok. Next is Hong Kong Council of Social Services, Ms. Cheng Po Yan. Thank you. In terms of open-mindedness, contact, restoration of trust, and building up social expectations together, we welcome this topic, and we thank the subcommittee for inviting us. We think that youngsters is a part of our community. They have the duty and they have the rights to participate in public affairs. And I would like to say something about the members' self-recommendation scheme for youth, use of online platform and social media to promote participation. I'd like to say my piece, and I'd also have some suggestions. First, in relation to the NSSY, since it was launched in 2017, a lot of youngsters have been selected to participate. But we see that there are limitations in this scheme. Say, for example, the ratio. For those between the age of 18 and 30, there are about 15.7% in terms of a membership. It is on the low side. And the appointed youngsters have an average age of 28. Younger youngsters don't really have a chance to be selected, so their views have been neglected. And under the scheme, the committees may not be related to education, housing, mental health, that is, areas that are of interest to youngsters. So their voices may not have an impact on policies that they care about. When it comes to participation in committees and other areas, well, people who are better at communications will have an advantage. In relation to social media as well as online platform, according to the Federation of Youth Groups survey, it's found that a lot of youngsters make use of social media to have access to information of the government. A lot of youngsters think that if the government can make good use of social media, then it will enhance understanding of policies. We see how important that social media is. I have some suggestions. First, we hope that the government would focus on topics related to youngsters, say, for example, mental health, equal learning opportunities, so that there will be a mechanism in place for youngsters to participate. Say, for example, collection of information of users of the multidisciplinary student mental health support scheme. And in the formulation of policies, they should take into account different characteristics of youngsters and provide different channels of participation. In relation to the use of social media and online platform, they need to make sure that youngsters' views will be taken on board, and there should be enhanced interaction with them. In relation to the survey, there should be funding support provided so that these research institutes will conduct survey on topics that are related to youngsters and to help youngsters resolve problems they encounter. Thank you. Next, Mr. Wilson Long, Hong Kong Youth Exchange Promotion United Association. My name is Wilson. In relation to open-mindedness, contact, restoration of trust, and building expectations, these are our views. First, in relation to building communication platform, there are many different channels of information under different units of the Bureau, but they have a silo mentality. The information is fragmented. So we think that there should be a centralized platform that will provide information of all different activities and different organizations so that youngsters only have to access one single point to get all the information they need. And this platform will have a bigger target. Secondly, they should leverage on the work of youth groups. A lot of youth groups have their own members. We think that the administration should provide more funding support, say for example, in terms of manpower and resources to make better use of these youth groups. Youth groups can provide a platform for youngsters to give them experience. Say for example, when they organize activities, they can get involved in planning, logistics, and have their ability to resolve problems enhanced. High performers can be selected to join the talent bank, and these bank will provide quality talent for the government. 3, there can be enhanced cooperation with youth groups. We suggest that in terms of district organizations, we can do better. Say, for example, organize training sessions, seminars, a forum to involve youngsters so that youngsters will have more opportunities to express their views. We have youth committees in all 18 districts, but can you ensure that there will be more room for youngsters to exchange views with the government? We think that this is a very good platform. So these are the suggestions of our association. Thank you. Next is a Liberal Party, Mr. Tin Fangzhen. Good morning, everyone. I am a subsidiary. We are a subsidiary of the Liberal Party. We see that the government's determined to do something about youth development. In terms of the youth development blueprint, it outlines the objective vision of youth development of the government. In order to get more youngsters to participate, the government has launched this youth participation initiatives. In terms of district work, public affairs, there are opportunities for youngsters to express their views. According to a website, and in 2020 and 23, there are a lot of work. There is a lot of work done by the government. Say, for example, an exchange program to Guangzhou, to GBA in relation to innovation and technology. There is also the exchange program to the mainland, as well as one that is with overseas countries. And there is also the GBA Youth Employment Scheme, and together with different organizations, there are mainland or overseas internship scheme and different funding schemes for exchanges. And on top of that, there is the District Youth Community Building Committee and a District Youth Development and Civic Education Committee. So the government has done a lot of work in 4 months. Well, 1/3 of the committee members become members through the self-nomination scheme. They are in the age group of 16 and 30. About 1,100 people applied. In the end, 330 or so members have been selected. I am one of them. I am a member of the Southern District Youth Development and Civic Education Committee. Through this approach, well, youngsters can get a chance to participate in district work. We need the highest echelon supervision. We need continuous dialogue with youngsters, and that we also need indicators to monitor effectiveness, and we also need supporting measures. Promotion is important too. We need to ensure that youngsters understand and have easy access to information available. When it comes to publicity of youth policies, it seems that the work is scanty. The government should draw reference from click rate of website to see if the work is effective. You can ask participants, you can ask members how they got to know about these schemes. Did anyone join because of information they find in the public domain, where someone said that is about who you know, not what you know? And a lot of people is because of whom they know that they learn about these schemes. So I hope that the government will try to understand more about this in this regard. The government should also look at the timetable and conduct a review. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tin. Next is Hong Kong Institute of Human Resources Management, Mr. Lawrence Hong. Thank you for inviting us to join this meeting. We have something to share with you. First, in terms of life planning, we fully identify of the information in the blueprint that they have given importance to life planning to secondary students, so that they can better understand about their abilities and to get themselves prepared for work or for universities. On this basis, the government can promote emerging industries as well as work experience to youngsters, especially grassroots youngsters. 2, a mandatory work a placement requirement. We understand that the government will consider supporting the UGC, the University Grants Committee's suggestion that one of the conditions to graduate is to have at least one term of placement. This will help students better understand what they do, what they learn about, and to give them experience. 3, slashes. We see that with the gig economy, more and more youngsters become slashers. The slashes themselves will bring benefits to our society and our economy, but there are other impacts as well. Youngsters may not know much about their future. They can try different occupations, different sectors by being a slasher, so that when they try to find their way forward. And for slashers, they have different experiences, they have different skills, they're very good at innovation. And they themselves get a sense of satisfaction. They can also choose a flexible way of work and life. They switch easily between different jobs. And this mode makes it easy. This mode makes it easy for youngsters as to start their businesses. In different countries, there are policy support and financial support to slashers. But back in Hong Kong, when it comes to social security, legal support, financial support, there is very little. So we hope that the government can work with the business sector to set up funds and make use of different programs to support slashers. The Employees Retraining Board as well as the Vocational Training Council can also provide necessary trainings for them. And if there is enough support for Hong Kong slashers, then it can enhance Hong Kong youngsters' employment rate. It will also assist them in working and making contributions to the future of Hong Kong. And you can also encourage youngsters to stay Hong Kong to replenish our labor force.
Thank you. Next, from Save the Children Hong Kong, Ms. Michelle Ng. Thank you. Our work is focused on children aged 18 or below. We want them to have a healthy environment, opportunities to education and protection in society. We also want them to take part in policy-making process. And the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child is also the core of our works. Young people are stakeholders in our society as well, and we should grant them an equal status in society. We need to allow children to participate in issues that may affect them. This is essential in building trust. We believe that this concept can be extended to youth. After the pandemic and the social incidents, we believe that the authorities, the administration should facilitate dialogue between young people and the government so that they can engage themselves in politics and public policy discussion. Since there is a power imbalance between adults or government officials with young people, we believe that we need to enhance communication. We should provide more communication channels for them to encourage children's participation in civic affairs. In our survey, 90% of students believe that they have few or even no opportunities to express their opinion to leaders or decision makers. And many of the respondents would like to have more channels to voice their opinions. We would like to propose, encourage a mock council for children and introducing participatory budgeting so that children and young people can have more ways to participate in public policy discussion and think about how to balance the different viewpoints of various stakeholders. And during policy making and budgeting, their concerns can be addressed. And we believe that the government should provide public access to more data and policy papers so that there is sufficient information to ensure the continuous participation of young people in politics. Lastly, we suggest the promotion of nonviolent communication methods. By listening in an open and fair manner, we can understand the needs of young people. I'm sure that the government is aware that during the communication process, because of the power imbalance relationship, we should adopt a nonviolent communication method because this can ensure harmony and enhance any future communication. We need to focus our attention on the issues at hand, but not labeling other people or accusing other people. That's why we need to adopt nonviolent communication means so that our community leaders can understand what our young people want and be able to restore mutual trust and build up social expectations together. Thank you. Next, Mr. Gibson Lau from Hong Kong Youth Unified Association. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Undersecretary and members. The current term government places importance on youth development. Our association commends that. However, the target groups are rather one-dimensional. They are mainly young people who already have a certain level of understanding of our country's development. We believe that we need to step out of this comfort zone. We need to get a full picture of Hong Kong's youth development. Then we need to conduct enough research and studies and to get in touch with young people who may have opposing views to the government. We can identify solutions through these research and studies. We also need to interact with grassroots youth and hidden youth so that we can get a better analysis of the overall picture of youth development. We can identify problems and come up with solutions. Let's take the Greater Bay Area Youth Employment Scheme as an example. It has good intentions. However, other than encouraging young people to work in the GBA, we need to encourage young people to cooperate with the government more. I think we need to expand the basis of communication with young people. Our association has, on various occasions, conduct exchange sessions with secondary school students. Some of the DSE graduates have told us that they are confused and unsure of where to go in the future. And in our questionnaire survey last year, young people are most concerned about their future and their income. This shows that there is a mismatch of Hong Kong's industry and training for our young people. This is a social issue that is shared by a whole generation of young people and their parents. In order to restore mutual trust, we need to solve their problems. We need to see the government's determination in doing so. And we hope that the government can actively engage grassroots people and better understand the challenges that they face. We want to make Hong Kong into a society where Hong Kong young people can utilize what they learn to contribute to society. Thank you. Next, Chinese YMCA of Hong Kong, Dr. Jim Hui. Thank you. From the Chinese YMCA of Hong Kong, we have 3 suggestions to make. First, For young people with different skills, we believe that we need to construct a more inclusive environment. Educational needs are very important for youth developments, but because of the current system, we focus on academic excellence. For young people who have rather unsatisfactory academic results, it is difficult for them to find their path, and it is difficult for them to build their confidence. Some young people are talented in sports and arts and culture. In Hong Kong, they may not have a lot of room for development. Let's say for some talented skateboarders, when they go to public spaces to practice, they may be asked to leave. They don't have the appropriate venue for training. So we believe that based on young people's various abilities, we need to help them develop different talents. And the government has been focusing on INT development and reindustrialization. However, we do not see any measures tying in with these proposals. How can we help young people identify paths in these aspects? We need to provide diverse education options, incorporating INT elements and reindustrialization elements to prepare young people. And we need to enhance engagement with young people. We can incorporate a social service semester for young people for a term of 6 months. Young people can get a better understanding of the community. They can take part in caring for the disadvantaged groups. For youth development, we need to prepare from a young age. In the last 18 years, in Sha Tin district, we have organized a children council. We want to enhance children's understanding of their own rights and their opinions on policies relating to children. From these 18 years of experience, we can understand that participants were able to understand more about the policy-making process and develop empathy. They have become active in listening to other people's views and active in voicing their own views. So through views collection, we can improve the facilities in schools. Things as simple as adding water coolers or changing rooms, etc. We believe that this can enhance the engagement in schools' participation. Thank you, Dr. Ho. Lastly, Mr. Chen Chi-ho from Greater Bay Youth Association. For our association, since our establishment, we have been pushing for young people to integrate into the national development, especially for youth exchange between young people in the GBA. We thank the government for the importance that it places on youth development. But we want to stress that to communicate with young people, you need to take the right approach. Nowadays, young people get their information from various means. For secondary school students, they watch the news or even read the news on the internet, and they have a lot of opinions or views. However, if you ask them to attend consultation sessions or voice their views online, it is not something that they would do voluntarily. So, is it possible for us to go into campuses and listen to them, be it secondary schools or universities? Second, we believe that we do not need to have any dedicated websites to understand young people's views. In the past, the government has conducted forums of this kind, but it was not a successful example. So instead of making a brand new platform and asking young people to voice their opinions there, perhaps we can look at public opinion online through websites, discussion forums, etc., to understand how people feel. Understand that there is a member self-recommendation scheme for youth, but we understand that for these members, they do not come from different levels of society. Most of them are with higher education background. They are so-called the elite youth. For other kinds of young people, it seems that it is quite difficult for them to enter these committees. That means the coverage is not wide enough. So I hope that in the future, during the MSSY, in the selection process, other than academic qualifications, perhaps you can consider other factors as well. Lastly, on patriots administrating Hong Kong and with the national security in place, we believe that for the advisory bodies with young members, we can be more daring and bold. Is it possible for us to nominate or elect young members into the committee? Well, currently it is a self-recommendation process, but the decision lies with the administration. There is not enough element of democracy. Well, now I am a chairperson of an area committee. In my work, I'm in touch with young people a lot. Yes, I give out name cards with my names and phone numbers on it, but on a district level or an area committee level, is it possible to incorporate young people's views during consultation? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Thank you, all the deputations and individuals who have spoken. This is the start of a long weekend, so we appreciate you spending time here with us, sharing your valuable opinions. Before I invite members to ask questions, I would like to see if the administration has any response to make to the deputations. Thank you, Undersecretary. Thank you, Chair. I agree with Vice Chair that I would like to extend my gratitude to all the deputations here today and thank you for your valuable suggestions. Some of your suggestions have been considered by us and are ongoing. But today you have shared with us your insights with different backgrounds. You provide different perspectives for us, and this is something that my team and I will definitely consider. So thank you. Second, for the Youth Development Blueprint, one thing that we want to focus on is the collaboration between the business sector, the government, and the community. In the coming days, we will be collaborating more with your organizations, especially on topics that are relevant. We hope that through you, we can listen to young people so that during the formulation of our policies, we can serve our young people better. Well, I would like to give a short reply based on a few aspects. Some of you have mentioned that in terms of arts and culture, some young people are very interested in this area. This is certainly true. Many young people would like to find out more about development in this sector. Under the 14th Five-Year Plan, Hong Kong will develop into an East-Meets-West Center for international cultural exchange. So we can see that in the coming days, there will be more opportunities for young people to engage in arts and cultural activities. Lastly, I've noticed that many of the deputations have mentioned adopting online platforms or mobile applications to communicate with young people. This is something that we are doing right now. It is mentioned in the blueprint that we will construct an app dedicated to young people. So the HYAB and the YDC will collaborate to make this happen. Some of you have mentioned issues regarding youth.gov.hk. We have plans to upgrade the website. Lastly, I would like to thank the deputations again. The administration will definitely listen to our young people and seize every opportunity to do so. Thank you. Thank you. Now, the floor is open for questions. Mr. Duncan Chiu, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, all the deputations and youth organizations for coming here today. In our first sessions, I have asked some questions regarding online platform, etc. I won't repeat them here. As a member representing the INT sector, I'm very glad that some of you have mentioned a few issues that I'm concerned about. Well, Hong Kong is set to be an international innovation and technology center. We want to provide more opportunities for our young people to move upwards. For Hong Kong to become an INT center, it is essential to have young people's engagement. Some of you have mentioned that currently there is a mismatch between the education prospect and industry. I believe that this is a serious issue. In universities, we have under-enrollment. If we want to become INT center in the future, we do not have enough students or graduates. For the Innovation, Technology and Industry Bureau, some subsidies have been provided, but curriculum is still lacking, and there is a certain level of disconnect between primary and secondary curriculum. I believe that the HYAB can liaise with the Education Bureau. And representative from the I mentioned that there should be a government-subsidized university on INT. I understand that for the Vocational Training Council, there is an institute devoted to vocational training. I believe that we need to dedicate more efforts to upstream training, such as blockchain, etc. There is not enough training currently for primary and secondary school students. I hope that the administration can utilize this opportunity to liaise with various stakeholders so that we can enhance students' digital literacy and enhance their employment opportunities. Thank you. Thank you for your opinion. Any reply, Under Secretary?
Having heard views from deputations, I believe we need to review the training part of the blueprint. Now, I will not repeat what Mr. Duncan Chiu said. Well, all along, I've heard many deputations mention something about youth participation in politics. I would like to first thank you all for coming here today and expressing your views. But many of you here are very passionate and you are capable of participating in policy discussion. In the blueprint, it sets out many opportunities for youth participation in public policy. The 2 district youth committees consist of members below 35. As many of you mentioned, is it just them? Well, so I hope the government can note their views. For example, with selection, can there be mutual selection, or apart from self-nomination, are there any channels for reaching youth who are interested in participating in district affairs, such as councils? Will there be other channels, for example, for them to make their voices heard? I believe the blueprint is just the first step. We can think about in future about the details to make sure the voices of the youth are indeed heard in the administration, so that the government is more aware of their views and their needs. They are our next generation, so working on that would be working on society. So that's my suggestion. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lillian Kwok. Chair, I've heard what Mr. Duncan Chu and Ms. Lillian Kwok said. We'll take note of their views and we'll think about them. Thank you. Undersecretary. Well, this is the end of the session. Thank you, deputations, for expressing your views. Your views have been heard here at the meeting by the administration. I believe they will take note of them. And your views are very helpful to LegCo members in terms of the monitoring the government's work. Thank you. So this is the end of the session. Any other business? Now, members, the next meeting, the date of the next meeting will be notified by the Secretariat, and you will be notified in due course. Any other business? Is there any other business? If not, this is the end of the meeting. Thank you. Thank you.